will come up on 29th of January 2023.
Center for Transparency Advocacy condemns attacks INEC facilities.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss managing finances in the new year.
Compliments of the season. Merry Christmas to all of you. And in the next few days, the year 2020 will be a thing of the past. It was full of economic activities, and of course, as they say, whatever has a beginning will definitely come to an end. And 2023 will be ushered in. Clear?
Yes, Claire. Indeed, year 2023 is indeed a year that all Nigerians are looking forward to in view of the important events that are likely to shape the direction of the country socially, economically, and politically.
Okay, so it is also interesting to note that the outgoing year, as 2022, witnessed a lot of ups and downs. I mean, there's no saying about that, especially as it affects purchasing power, the economy, and invariably all aspects of our financial standing, not just personal financial standing, Kieran, but also the country's economic standing as well.
Exactly, and these events include increasing inflation rates, the rise in food prices, high exchange rates at the parallel market, and the redesigning of the naira notes.
And all of this impacted, as I said earlier, on the economy one way or the other, particularly on the purchasing power of individuals in the outgoing year. I mean, Kieran, most homes could not even, buy the usual native chicken that we know. We used to call it local chicken. It was that bad. It was that expensive.
Yeah, I mean, it may not just be Nigeria alone. It's also happening across the globe. But we shall get into the nitty-gritty of it, when we commence conversation this morning. Well, in fact, some Nigerians are into serious financial challenges owing to the fact that they have collected loan facilities from both banks and online financial institutions. Those that are also illegal are involved. And also lack of either poor planning or mismanagement of the finances or unavailable emergencies, as the case may be.
So as we prepare to step into the new year 2023, it's Nigerians may cross over to the new year with a huge financial burden that may threaten their economic fortunes. Now, arising from inactionable financial management or lack of culture for savings for the dry days. And Kieran, January are always very, very long.
It's already a tradition, so we all know about it. And some experts advocate saving of about say 20% of anybody's monthly income, while others recommend 10% saving, stressing that individuals should not buy anything they cannot afford and don't purchase things on credit. And let me tell you, I wonder what will happen if there's no credit facility in Nigeria among Nigerian citizens.
Then you cut your coat according to your time.
Just let's be honest with this. Some people go and buy Gary on credit, okay, and if you don't do that, that person will not take anything. And of course, the traders are already in tune with it. And then when you come, you give it because you know where you live. You're going to pay much later and what have you. So credit facility in Nigeria has become embedded, in our economic system.
That's why we're having this discussion this morning, and of course, how one can avoid, credit if we can, or how Nigerians can also plan and manage their finances in the coming year. More so that the citizens have spent substantially preparing for Christmas and the New Year celebrations. We would like to ask what are some of those ways you would want to make people financially stable in the new year. I think this is a very interesting topic, and it is very valuable, especially if you're a woman. Well,
yeah, men are also involved these days. What steps should be taken to imbibe the culture of budgeting and savings? Should managing finances be given topmost priority in the New Year resolutions? These are some of the issues we intend to put forward to our guests as we discuss managing finances in the New Year. I am Kyrian with my compliments of the season.
And I'm Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak. Always, we want to thank you. We appreciate you from wherever you're watching for giving us your early morning and watching Good Morning Nigeria. It's reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. And as always, we have our complimentary segments. The highlights of the morning news will come up shortly. That will be followed much later by the business news. And of course, much later, Chooks Boy will be joining us for a review of what the papers are saying today on the newspaper review segment of this program. For now, Ifoma Ojinta is right in the new studio. Ifoma, Merry Christmas, compliments of the season, and we are discussing managing finances. How does it affect us women?
By the way, we are talking about managing finances and how it affects you. Both of you are shining this morning. I mean, perhaps you have planned to intimidate me on set this morning. I want to repeat.
Also, I must confess, you're also shy.
No. I mean,
look at your age. At all.
That's a different matter. That's a different matter altogether. In terms of managing finances, you people should not talk about it because you are shining so much this morning. Nobody will believe you.
The expert.
Exactly.
Good morning, Claire and Kyrian. Compliments of the season. Here is a news bit. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahaya, has again urged military personnel to continue to exhibit professionalism in the discharge of their constitutional duties and remain apolitical in the forthcoming general elections.
I implore you to maintain the spirit of patriotism and continue to give your best in this discharge of assigned duties and responsibilities. We must not rest on our oars, as it is pleasing to know that we are recording giant strides in defeating all detractors towards bringing lasting peace to our fatherland.
Borno State government has reiterated its commitment to support the military in all its operations to completely end insurgency in the Northeast region. Deputy Governor Umar Usman Gadafo gave the assurance during a combined Chief of Army Staff and the Air Staff 2022 Christmas and New Year luncheon for troops of Operation Hadamkai held at Malari Cantonment in Maiduguri.
Let me also use this opportunity to particularly thank the Army and all other armed forces for your commitment to end insurgency.
We are even more involved, committed and dedicated to deal decisively with the terrorists and all those who are taking up arms against Nigerian state.
These tremendous efforts have been remarkably effective in degrading the capabilities of the terrorists and denying them the freedom of action in the northeast of the country.
Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Oladayo Amao has hosted officers and men of the Nigerian Air Force to a thank you lunch for their commitment in securing communities from acts of terrorism.
Air support has been immensely instrumental to curtailing activities of terrorists and other enemies of the state. We must sustain the tempo of our operations and continue the fight gallantly until all insurgents, bandits, whatever you may call them, are completely eliminated.
And this event is put together on the realization that these personnel are the critical component of the resources available to prosecute the operations that we are engaging.
In the meantime, all seems to be set for the establishment of the Nigerian Navy operational base in Shagunu Burugu local government area of Niger State. Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu, visited the proposed site of the base project.
Mr. President, and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Republic, President Muhammad Buhari, granted the Nigerian Navy approval to establish a world operating base. It was named World Operating Base Shagun.
I believe that this will bring a lot of good tidings to Bongo people in terms of recruitment in these forces and even other employment opportunities, and also in terms of securing our waterways.
The Tiga hydroelectricity project will be inaugurated before the end of January 2023. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje disclosed this during an inspection visit to the site of the completed project.
Excellency, everything has been tested on vehicles and water will be opened within the next 2 weeks so that we can test it with water, then test on load before the final functioning.
The training will start in 2 weeks' time, and then by the grace of God, the commissioning will come up on 29th of January 2023.
Center for Transparency, Advocacy and Election Observer Group has condemned the alarming rate of attacks on INEC facilities. The group expressed this at a media briefing in Abuja.
On all stakeholders to support INEC towards achieving credible, peaceful, fair, inclusive, and importantly, conclusive elections in 2023. We call on Nigerians to stop violence, and we have only one country that we can all call down.
Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba condemns the killing of a lawyer, Omobolanle Rahim, who was allegedly shot by a policeman attached to Ajiwe Police Station, Aja, Lagos State. In a statement by the force, the IGP described the incident as unfortunate and ordered speedy investigation and prosecution of the officers responsible for the ugly and unprofessional acts. While assuring the public of justice in the case, he wants personnel to be professional and people-oriented in the discharge of their duties and operate within the ambits of the law, as the force leadership will not condone unprofessional acts. Meanwhile, the IGP has commiserated with the family, friends and colleagues of the deceased as he prays for the repose of her soul. And that's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues with Claire and Kirian after this break. Let's stay with us.
Nigeria, African beauty of the Gulf of Guinea, blessed with natural landmarks and wildlife reserves. Nigeria, largest economy in Africa. Nigeria, famous accomplishment in entertainment and sports. Nigeria, resourced with globally respected human capital. Our uniqueness lies in our tenacity, our acumen, a testament of success. At NTA, we are forever proud to be the showcase channel of this positive energy and the reflection of the good in our nation. The capacity to tell our nation's story would not have been possible without the support and patronage of the three arms of government: ministries, departments, agencies, corporate bodies, advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups, political parties, and of course you, our esteemed viewers. As we wish you Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year, let's get set to make 2023 even greater together.
the president we need. The president we go for.
People of Nigeria don't talk them say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu they want as president of Nigeria. Our country people get many reasons wey make them all agree say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu them choose for this president election. So Bola Tinubu na man wey sabi anything wey he put in hand he dey work wella. He do better work for Lagos State when he be governor. Till today Lagos people still dey enjoy from all the better things wey jaburata for Lagos. People of Nigeria, e good to make we vote for who sabi. As e come be so, make we all come out for election day and vote Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president of Nigeria. Vote Senator Kashim Shettima as the vice president. Vote APC, the party with the broom.
Vote the president we go for.
We are quite delighted to thank the following people and institutions for their consistent goodwill and patronage and for supporting the proudly Nigerian dream. His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari, First Lady Dr. Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari, ShopRite, the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Covenant University, Next Cash and Carry, Market Square, Prince Ebano, Duka Hospitality, Sahat Stores, Anglican Diocese of Amish and Nnewi, Catholic Diocese of Onitsha, Just Right Stores and Aspire Nigeria. What about you? Are you not aware that when you buy made in Nigerian brands like Erisco, you are supporting the creation of more jobs in Nigeria? We therefore enjoin you to patronize made in Nigerian brands like Erisco Foods and join our numerous partners, distributors and customers who have built a good relationship with us because they believe in eating healthy food and in economic progress of our country. Thank you and God bless you all.
Our pastors, our imams, in every church, in every mosque, please realize that in the course of praying for peaceful and transparent elections, we all have duties beyond prayers. If we want a stable society before, during and after the elections, what should you be saying to those that worship with you? All Sundays and all Fridays, you are saddled with the responsibility of bringing up good generations. It is therefore your duty to both man and God to ensure peace all the time, no matter about elections alone. People talk to people and people listen. Talk to your followers. Make them listen to ensure peaceful 2023 elections. This message from the National Orientation Agency.
As we close a successful year 2022 and prepare for the start of a better year 2023, the Nigeria Television Authority, NTA, wishes to appreciate and share the love with all who gave us a year to remember for good. The three arms of government, ministries, departments and agencies, corporate bodies and advertisers, religious bodies, civil society groups and political parties. Most importantly, you, our esteemed viewer, we say thank you. Together, we make 2022 great. Let's make 2023 greater. Once again, we say thank you. Wishing you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year from all of us at the NTA. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Alright, welcome back to the program. It's Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service. Let's take a look at trending business news. The Oil Commodity Group Import Index on average increases by 0.76% point between July and September this year. Kunle Adeyeye will give us the details now.
The highest increase is that of animals, vegetables, fats and oil, and other cleavage production, followed by mineral products, footwear, headgear, umbrellas, sunshades, whips, and other products. The National Bureau of Statistics' latest report on commodity price indices and terms of trade indicates that all commodity group export price index averagely increased by 0.26% point in third quarter of 2022. The increase was majorly attributed to an increase in the prices of wood and articles of wood. The oil products terms of trade index on average decreased by 0.50 percent point because of increases in the prices of paper-making materials. The oil region group export index also increased by 0.2 percent points, mainly due to rise in prices of export to all regions except America and the Oceania. The oil region group import index increased by 0.76 percent points due to changes in import prices to some of the regions except Africa. The major export markets of Nigeria in third quarter of 2022 were Spain, India, France, the Netherlands, and the United States of America. In another development, the Board of Directors of African Export-Import Bank Afreximbank has approved $1.5 billion funding to enable members from the Caribbean community with ratified partnership agreement with the bank have access to its various financial instruments. With business news, I'm Kule Adeye.
Thank you, Kule, for that package. Up next, newspaper review.
All right, it's always my pleasure to welcome Chukwudi Okoli Ubaja, alias Chucks the Boy.
Chucks the Boy. But I'm creaking in the wrong places. I don't feel like Chucks the Boy anymore. I am creaking in the wrong places now.
It's good to see you. Compliment on the
Welcome to me.
Good to see you.
So let's go. We have three papers to review this morning: Leadership, Al Jazeera, and the Blueprint newspaper that Claire has. But let me begin with the Leadership newspaper. Above the name flagger, killing of Lagos lawyer, Article 6 urgent police reforms. That's on page 7. Sheikh Kabara, Islamic group to appeal death sentence. That's on page 8. Now below the nameplate, federal government grants local ship owners zero import duty on new vessels. Details on page 7. Bola Mohammed alleges plot to rig Bauchi governorship election. That's on page 7. 2023 presidency, that's the kicker for the lead story on leadership. Tinubu, Obi's men shift battleground to south and southeast with two riders. Governors are supporting Labour Party standard bearer, says Ohanese. Jonathan supporters mobilized for APC presidential candidates. All that on page 4. Now, 1 killed, 45 abducted by gunmen in Kaduna. It's on page 6. 3 die in Niger Republic military helicopter crash. Also on page 6, deal decisively with terrorists. Army chief charges troops. All right, and Claire, maybe you have to come with
okay, let me take a look at the Blueprint. And very unpleasant stories this morning dotting the front page of Blueprint. The first one, which is a headline story of Lagos female lawyer Bolanle Rahim, errant officer arrested, taken to custody. That's according to the police. Slim woman was pregnant, says designer Toyin Lawani. NBA Sanwo-Olu, others demand justice. Details of those stories on page 6. And just atop that, below the nameplate, another bizarre killing again. After 5 days siege, terrorists gang rape pregnant woman to death in Niger State, and that incident happened at a village in Shiwero, local government area of Niger State. Now, the bandit also killed a monarch, 3 others, and are demanding 2 million naira for farm produce. There is improvement in security despite threats. Below, that's I believe it's the state governor. Then gunmen slay 32, released 200 Zamfara community abductees. You can read up more on page 5. And just also on the right column, you'll find another sad story. 3 die as this time Nigerian military helicopter crashes. Details of that on page 8. Okay, let's bring you down to the foot of the paper. Adeleke sacks or show revenue collectors at quarry sites. Details of that's on page 5. And there are other trending stories at the foot of the paper. Benue monarchs decry headers attacks on communities. Petrol tops imports in 9 months with 1.2 trillion naira. Gas 261.6 billion naira. And Nigeria mows 0.5% levy on goods from US, Europe, and others. An appeal court reserves judgment in Akwa Ibom APC governorship poll dispute. That's the front page of the blueprint.
Okay, let me just quickly go through it before we bring in Chukwuti. The lead story on Al Jazeera, let's go to that. Lead story on Al Jazeera. G5, that's the kicker. Governor Otom endorses Obi, says, I would have been following you about. Nation awaits weakest choice. That's on page 9 of Al Jazeera. Now, contempt. Court threatens to jail Buhari, Lawan, Malami, Olochie, others. That's on page 8. SEC commences annual registration of market operators. On page 15. Governor Bala felicitates Christians, calls for unity. Okay, on the right hand side, tension as a PDP deputy governor candidate convoy kills couple. Too bad. Police arrest ASP for killing Lagos lawyer. That's on page 4. Vote Tinubu has been friendly to Igbo in Lagos. Well, that's a Bajabi Amila. All right, urging Igbos to vote for Tinubu in Lagos. Okay, that's politics. Chubuli, what's it striking for you?
My dear Kyrian, on AM television, the effort usually is to start on a note that wishes people well, so that they get into their day cheerfully. But then you have to take the good with the bad in life. So, police arrest ASP over killing of Lagos lawyer Mobolale Rahim. I think this is an incident that actually leaves a sour taste in the mouths of so many people. The policeman, the ASP has been arrested. 2 other policemen who were with him on duty have also been taken in. The superintendent of police, Benjamin Hunde, disclosed this. But we are told that the suspects have been moved to the Criminal Investigation Department, Apanti, that's in Yaba. Hunde is assuring Nigerians that justice must be served. Now the issues are, what could have led to the pointing of a gun and the squeezing of his trigger? What does an incident such as this do to police-civilian relations? We are told the police are even under extreme provocation, our police and women should know that a man or woman that bears a gun is indeed in possession of a lethal weapon. It's lethal, so you have to be careful how you use it. What would matter at the end of the day, if you ask me, is how much the police force brings its men and women, the men and women in the force, to a room to address them regularly on anger management. We have to admit that policing Nigeria is not the easiest of jobs. To be fair to police people, some of us are very sarcastic. Some of us are not encouraging in terms of what you need to tell a man who is working in circumstances that are very dire. Please, I'm not saying that that's what happened in the case of people. I'm just saying what happens generally. But in spite of all this, the police have a duty to know that they are closest to the civilians, to we the civilians, in terms of relations. So they must also. Okay.
Actually, sorry, we are going to get into more of this, because I'm not sure that the microphone is working. What is the information that we have? Are you getting his audio clearly?
Do you see? You just indicated me. You're not receiving me clearly.
No, you can receive clearly.
We
I was going to add. Yes, I was going to add that as a matter of fact, some analysts are saying that over 70% of Nigerians are lawless.
Yeah, well, I don't.
In terms of doing things normal, go on the road. Just simple traffic lights. Simple traffic light. Yeah. There's no junction in Abuja that has traffic light that people obey. Go and check it out. Except police are there on watch. That's by the way anyway.
Let's look at the issues. Could that incident it have been avoided? Well, the story was that the barrister, the late barrister now, and her family, driving in the car was flagged down, and she was trying to make a U-turn somewhere in Abuja area of Lagos when the policeman, released the shot. So what could have happened? One, the policeman that released the shot was an assistant superintendent of police, so he's not a rookie. He's not other ranks. So he's expected to be qualified, to be trained, to know the rules.
Officer
attitude. If she was trying to make a U-turn, probably the area where she was flagged down was not convenient.
Was U-turn the error?
No.
Or was there any interaction between him and the area? That's what I need to get.
Listen to what I'm saying. She probably was flagged down at a very inconvenient point. For her to make a U-turn, we don't know. Neither of us was there.
That's the inconvenience point. Therefore, may not sit well in terms of assessment of what happened.
Exactly.
What I think we should be talking about is how the police should handle rather tricky.
Exactly.
That is the point.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not, you're going to beat some.
And was it a straight Nigerian?
Yeah.
Was it a straight aim? You could have just
that's the point.
The tire.
So
professionally, you should have punctured the tire.
If you didn't take necessary to stop her, we don't know whether there was provocation. The likes of Kingsley will tell you that the law recognizes provocation. But as I said, by unarmed people. But as I said earlier, if anyone is going to exercise utmost caution, it is the man in uniform who has been trained particularly to handle provocation. They should save the day when things like this happen.
Exactly.
We're not saying that they are guilty. They're investigating.
That shooting
for us to guard against incidents like, because they become embarrassing, the police must be the last bastion.
And if the lady is under the wheel for crying out loud, there's a lady. What would he have suspected to have shot her? It's a lady. I mean, did you not see it was a lady driving?
It's okay.
But at least it's being a lady. As a man, you should say, okay, fine, let her go. Whatever it is, let her go for being a lady.
Let's spare the incident, too much sentiment. Let them investigate. Tell us what happened.
That's right. I want to say that again. We also commend the Lagos State Police for the prompt action. Yes, the spokesperson Benjamin Hunde has already said the errant officer has been arrested, taken to custody, and they have also sent apology and promised that justice, of course, will be served.
Yes.
In this case. Another story that I also would like us to look at is again another pregnant gang rape of a pregnant woman in Niger, Shiruru. I mean, I don't understand.
The conviction of late of two people who gang raped and then later killed a lady has become a bit heartwarming in terms of how we deal with boys who suddenly go gaga and don't know how to control themselves anymore. Otherwise, I'm going to suggest strongly that we have not been dealing with issues of rape as seriously as we should.
Exactly. I agree with you.
We have not.
I agree with you.
The laws are there. Enforcement seems to be a little weak. You have to make an example of these people. You're a coward when you can't walk up nobly and tell a woman in very, very, very decent tone that you admire her.
Yes.
And have that grace when she eventually says yes. People say we are old.
I might follow the clothes, the shoes.
No, you are putting the boy.
The boy now.
We were, almost like those, these men on horseback, chariots. We rode nobly when we wanted to go and they say all that. Well, but that's not. You can walk how much you have in your pocket, the kind of car you drive.
The Minister of Women Affairs, has been very, very vocal, and the advocacy against, rape and rapist has been very, very intense lately, to the extent that even the NTA, is yes, it's involved in the advocacy. But you see, one thing I want us to also note is there is a register where if you are caught, they call it name and shame register.
Yes.
I don't know how effective that has been. I don't know how many people have been caught or how many names are on that register as at today. But this particular incident involves bandits
That's it.
within Shiroro, and this is not the first time such terrible tragedy would happen.
That makes it worse. There's this saying that when there's a war situation, many things are uncontrollable. With bandits, it's a big problem, very, very big problem. But we are talking within the territory of law enforcement. We need to do more.
We also need to do more. We also need to let Nigerians know, because there are rape cases going on daily basis, but they are underreported. Yes, some families would not like to present their daughter in that kind of circumstance with for stigma and what have you.
I'm sorry, we have to end this discussion, and we will not end it without again us reminding you that rape is a crime. Join us in our campaign against rape and rapists. Chooks the boy.
A woman deserves respect, utmost respect. If you don't give it, you're a coward.
Chukwudi, thank you. Even though you are Chooks the boy.
Oh well, I will try to feel like one.
We'll see you tomorrow.
But I know things are beginning to happen in my joints.
Yes, they're beginning to crack. Have a good day, Chooks. All right, this is Good Morning Nigeria. Don't go away. We'll be right back in just a moment.
They swore an oath to serve our fatherland and defend the people. They traded their freedom, comfortable homes, and mortgaged their lives on the battleground for our unity and peaceful living. These are the great, fearless, loyal, and committed Nigerian armed forces who risked their lives courageously to safeguard our borders. But in the line of duty, many never returned. Nigerians, guys, let's celebrate our fallen heroes. Put on the remembrance emblem with pride to support the incapacitated and families of our fallen heroes.
The occasion gives cause for reflection and remind us the sacrifice made by our armed forces in preserving the unity of the country.
All ministries, parastatals, religious and corporate bodies to donate generously to the Emblem Appeal Launch. Send your donations to this account. Account name, Emblem Appeal Launch. Account number 393-200-7526. EcoBank Nigeria PLC.
What we face mostly now are flashes of cowardly attacks from the rump of groups that have been routed in one location or the other, moving to another to give the false impression that they are still strong. Our ultimate goal is to eliminate them altogether and restore total and lasting peace over every inch of the Nigerian soil. Sounding tall, we take it home. We are determined to ensure that every inch of the Nigerian soil is safe. That determination is there. The order has been given. But we shall continue to protect the lives and property of Nigerians and foreigners in our midst. We shall continue to work for the peace of the nation and deter elements that constitute threats to the people. We shall bear the full powers of the government to secure every inch of our land. We shall not rest until peace is fully restored to Nigeria.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
to every politician as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise. Remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
Thank you for staying with us on Good Morning Nigeria. There's no gainsaying the fact that management is critical in every facet of life, including finances. In this background report, Abdulsalam Jubril examines the significance of managing finances, thereby making some people to include it in their New Year resolutions.
Every year, millions of people around the world make New Year resolutions with the hope of sparking positive change in their lives. Prominent among these resolutions include exercising more, getting more organized, learning new skills, and managing or improving finances. Some financial experts insist that the new year is a great time to set some good but realistic financial goals. These goals include creating and sticking to a budget, building up an emergency fund, getting out of debt, saving, especially for retirement purposes, and spending less.
2022 has really taught us, Nigeria and me as a person, how to manage your finances, because things is expensive, and if you don't save, you have a bad tomorrow. So going into 2023, I've really learned a lot in 2022. So 2023, I'll manage my finances very well. I'll cut down my expenses.
In fact, towards this Christmas, I'm minimizing my expense towards next year. So I'm not spending much this December. So I'm reserving some fund for next year, because next year from January to February is not going to be easy.
You need to cut your costs. Learn how to save your money. Also learn how to spend. Don't spend anyhow. Anything that you know that yes, it will affect you financially, don't do it, because you need to cut down your costs in order for you to be able to manage yourself.
Save more and spend less, and when you spend less, you'll be able to raise more capital to establish something that will catapult you to the next level.
Save more and spend less was the view of some Nigerians here as they count down to 2023. The big question now is, how will they achieve this, bearing in mind that resolutions are often broken before the end of the year? What should be done to avoid the temptations of overspending? How should an effective financial management be planned and structured? Guest on Good Morning Nigeria will be speaking on managing finances in 2023 shortly.
Right, thank you, Abdul Salam, for that background report and interesting responses there. And that's exactly what we want to discuss on today's edition of Good Morning Nigeria, how you can't manage your finances, especially in the coming year. We have some of our guests right here in the studio. Let me begin the introductions. Obinaya Uwakwa is Dr. Obinaya Uwakwa, I beg your pardon, is a personal development mentorship expert. He's also a public speaker, author, and entrepreneur. Obinaya, compliments of the season. Thank you for joining me. And again, congratulations on your doctorate degree. Yes, sir.
It was a pleasure.
We didn't get to hear that on time.
So,
Dr. Obinaya Uwakwa. Also joining us, of course, via Zoom, all the way from Kogi State, is Professor John Alabi. Professor John Alabi is Dean, Faculty of Management Sciences, Kogi State University, and he's also President and Chairman, Institute of Classic Entrepreneurship, Nigeria. Professor Alabi, thank you very much for finding time to be with us this morning.
Good morning, compliments. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right, Prof. We have to begin with you as a management expert. Of course, we have established a topic for conversation this morning, which has a lot to do with home management, budgeting, saving, spending, and or other related matters. Now, lead us into what management is all about and how the nexus between management and of humans and management of homes.
Thank you very much. Well, management simply means the act of getting involved. Essentially, it involves you putting all resources together and doing what is called traditionally planning. When you plan, determine what's to be done, you organize yourself by getting resources together. You make sure that you monitor daily occurrences, which we call control. You ensure that you do not allow things to go off guard as planned, as direction, and you ensure that at the end of the day, you periodically review and coordinate to ensure you achieve your goals. So essentially, management is all about setting goals, designing plans, ensuring that you control daily activities and monitor it, and ensure that you achieve your goal. So management, if you want to go permit, will answer all things. So you manage in all situations. You manage organization for business. You manage a non-government organization. You manage your home. Even in the home itself, you need to manage. There are basically the father, the mother, and the children in the home, and there are the purposes that are being harnessed together to meet the needs of the family, be it education, be it feeding, be it accommodation, be it housing. So it needs all of us individually to manage. You manage everything. The first profession in the guardian of agent is management. Just create man and put it and say, look, tender and make sure that everything works out well. So management is the end thing. If you don't manage, you will end up. So for me, I take management, I speak management, I talk management, I project management, we personify management, management and priority. So we must manage. Otherwise, our home will be in crisis and we have challenges.
Thank you, Professor Alabi, for your perspectives. Sometimes when it comes to finances, and you know, some people would, tell you don't have to teach me how to manage my finances. You don't have to tell me what or how I can use my money. You know, so giving us the impression that when it comes to finances, management should not be taught. And I'm wondering, Dr. Bina, what do you feel?
You know, I grew up with my grandmother, and one of the proverbs I learned from her is, when the mother goat is eating grass, the children look at the mouth. In management, like Prof said, in training, you say if you don't train them, do not blame them. Meaning that training is important. The job you're doing today, you were trained for it. You're a broadcaster, you're a veteran. An old woman does not grow old in the dance, she knows how to dance. Meaning that you learned it over time. You cannot just get up and become. This microwave mentality will not take us far. And when it comes to finances, someone said assumption is the lowest level of knowledge. If you don't know, you don't know. The person that asks questions does not miss their way. And Chinua Achebe said, if you don't know where the rain started beating you, you will not know where it stopped. It's a very simple thing. You cannot be taller than me and shorter than me at the same time. Meaning that some people are taking the pains, the sacrifice of mastering an art. They become masters at it. It's a simple thing. My people say, the village where there is sickness, the native doctor has work there. Who is the native doctor? The native doctor is the person you have the national hospital with the wearing white apron. In those days, the native doctor had white chalk around their eyes. What qualified him to have white chalk around his eyes was because he learned through a master who taught him which leaf was for putting in the mouth and the leaf for putting in the eyes. If not, you put the wrong one in the wrong place and you kill somebody. You need to learn. That's why you have teachers. So let's agree and understand that exactly what I've always said on this stage several years, that what colonialism did to us is something we need to actually unlearn. The colonial masters were supposed to have taught the colonized people 3 intelligences. Number 1 is academic intelligence. The tragedy of it all is that we decided to just only learn their language and not their ways. If you look at Britain is known for consultancy. Consultancy on what? Knowledge management. It comes down to learning. And across the world, you have them coming into your territory, understanding what happens around you, creating wealth out of it, and selling it back to you. What did we learn? We learned consumption instead. Number 2 is administrative intelligence. You today, you're a GM or you are an anchor person, you're holding an administrative position. But what Africans learned was what we call golden handcuffs. We're talking finances here. We learned to go get jobs. Job, incidentally, is just over broke. Journey on the way to being broke. I'm not saying you should not get a job, but like our people say, when a woman marries 2 husbands, she knows the one that's better for her. I'm not saying you should marry 2 husbands. What I'm saying is that when you have worked for salary and you have also created wealth like your grandmother who had a backyard, you know the one that's better for you. That's right. Finally, financial intelligence, and I'm going to go there. Financial intelligence is number 3 thing the colonial masters were supposed to have taught you. And let me ask you a simple question. Were you taught money as a subject in school? Of course not. That's what I'm going to ask. And with a graduate, which subject are you asking about? That's what they're looking for. The NBS gave us the statistics, of course, based on the available data that 133 million, do you find a link between, the number of poor people and lack of this knowledge, lack of training, lack of, maybe more assumption of knowing what to do with their finances? It still comes back to, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? The simple thing is, if you look at the Chinese, who are instructed in Mandarin, they think in Mandarin, and today they do STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. But we have a system that taught us to go to grammar school. With all the big grammar, how much is in your pocket? The handsomeness of a man is not his face, but his pocket.
All right, Dr. Rabbi, you have really made a good backgrounding, that will, of course, expand the horizon of this conversation. Right. Africa is not totally dependent on European ideology in terms of management. People are managing, our forefathers managed their own local economies and survived. Some were also known to be rich at that time. There's always this natural culture of management. Every family should know. You can't get that from the school under normal circumstance. That every family should know that there is a family economy. There should be family budgeting. There should be family savings for the rainy day and what have you. And that conversation is hinged on the fact that perhaps there are cultures that we have imbibed that made us to be, some of us are spendthrifts. People buy things they don't need, and just to show off, to belong, to be part of the society. Go and acquire something you don't need, and all of that. And when it begins to bite, then the issue comes up. That's, of course, the main reason for this conversation. Before we continue, let's introduce another guest who is joining us from our Kano studio, and he's Professor Amin Usman, Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, Kaduna State University. Prof, good morning, compliments of the season, and welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm glad that you can hear us clearly. And also, let's get your opening salvo, if you may, on the issue of home management, which of course is timeless, if you ask me, because every January people struggle with paying of school fees, trying to stabilize the family after the festive period. So what's your take on the issue of home management and how Nigerians have fared in that regard?
Idan suka yi question
well, I think even if Nigerians have not been planning, I think this year, the 2023 should be a year for serious planning by every family. By every family, because this new year will come with so many things that will actually alter the cost of living, alter finances of average Nigerians. We know that first of all, we are entering the new year with elections that will bring in a new government at the expiration of the present administration. So and owing to the new policy CBN introduced of Naira redesign and cash limits, withdrawal limit in the banks, it means cash flow will be a little bit tight. And again, we can also see that politicians are dragging in terms of spending money for election because of the relative cash flow squeeze in the country. Now, and when you have a government that is exiting, it will spend less much money, because it may not want to overburden the coming administration. So we can see that probably the best this government can do probably to release overhead for the first quarter. Now, usually, like the earlier said, is January, February, March used to be a little bit tight, but this year is going to be especially more tight than any other year before. So there's a need for families to actually recast their budget, rearrange the way they manage their finances. I think we need to eliminate a lot of unnecessary expenditure, a lot of unnecessary cost. We need to actually prioritize spending money. And I think there's something very important that I think I need to draw the attention of parents, especially those who have children in university, that if they are up to date, they will see that a lot of universities have started increasing their registration fees by 200-300%, which means a major cost item is entering into their own annual budget, which they have to factor in. So those who are not taking that into consideration should start taking it into consideration. Some universities have announced 200-300% increases in registration fees, which will affect the cost, the amount needed to actually keep our children in the universities. And I expect that virtually every university in this country, especially the federal universities, will increase fees, certainly beyond the reach of average Nigerians. So before the impact hits every family hard, I think is very good. From day one, we notice that there will be increased cost of keeping our children in universities in particular, and that will have spiral effect on accommodation and feeding and things like that. So, and we have been suffering inflation rapidly, and I don't see it abating, because food is going to be very, very expensive. We know that in most families, the two major items on the budget is food and school fees. Now,
Food will continue to be very expensive this year. The harvest wasn't very good, and then especially for rice, the major rice belt has been affected by flooding, which wiped out the plants like Kogi, Kebbi, Jugawa have suffered major floods, which wiped out thousands and thousands of hectares of rice farmlands, which increased the cost. I can tell you, last year by this time, a bag of fadi is selling in the north here probably around 12,000-13,000 naira, but right now it's selling between 22,000 naira and above, which means we are going to expect food inflation to be on very, very high, even if government has been able to succeed through various policy mix to hold the growth of the inflation will still be very serious, because as we go off the season, food prices will also add to the pressure on inflation. So yes, there is a need for families to take this into considerations, that food is going to be the major expenditure, and then school fees will go haywire because universities are increasing their fees even without tuition. So and now I think the good thing about the issue of the university is probably the issue of the public now coming to realize why ASU was struggling and fighting that this thing should not happen, because when you increase fees by over 200%, certainly at the end of the semester you would start counting how many people have dropped out, how many people have not been able to pay, and I think a lot of students will not be able to take off admissions offered to them. So there is a whole lot of reasons why every family should look at their budget and plan very well. This year is not a year of expenditure, and like I said, a new government will be coming in, so this government will be rounding up without spending so much money, without making so much commitments on so many aspects. And at the end of the day, a new government will come in and it has to study the situation before it actually starts spending money. So there is really cash flow will be very tight. So we should limit our expenditure to non-things and things that are actually absolutely very, very important in our district.
Professor Aminu Usman, Dean Faculty of Social Sciences, Kaduna State University, thank you. While you were speaking, Yushao Aliyu, an economic analyst, joined us here in the studio. Let me quickly welcome him, and also through the first question, compliments of the season, Yushao. It's been a long time.
It's been long. Thank you very much. And compliments.
Good.
Yes, thank you.
All right, that's fine. So, like Prof said, next year, 2023, if we get it right, that as a country, if we're able to get our elections right, and the incoming government gets its policies and implementation also right, things will be looking up for Nigerians. It may not be as hard as bookmakers are predicting. Otherwise, as Prof said, food will be expensive, tuition will be expensive. But do you think at the moment there is a great need or a greater need for families to learn to manage their finances?
Understanding finances has to do with what you take in the economy. What you take in the economy, in most cases, when you take the average families in Nigeria, that the concept of budget is not even well understood, and it cannot be narrated accordingly, based on the fact that you budget based on expectation, and expectation that probably as an individual you are certain that you are going to hit A, B, or C. But unfortunately, most of the families don't even have a job to do.
It has become expedient for those families to learn how to manage whatever finances, whatever income they have now.
Understanding what to manage probably has to do with understanding inflation in the first instance, or understanding the cost of living crisis. Once you are hit with no job, what are you going to manage in the first instance? You manage joblessness. So when you are speaking as if individuals are projecting income, they don't even know how to project income. Most of these are lower families. In the first instance, if a farmer and flooding took away the farmland, then you have come to zero, thinking, what do I do? Do I participate in the market? Do I go for hard labor? Or do I? These are the things that average family always face. They don't face Like when we are talking of trying to make savings, you save out of surplus. But when inflation is eroding your income consistently, persistently, then what are you going to manage in the first instance? Is to manage life, or to manage poverty, or to manage look, the best way in all economies, we don't have to blame colonial masters for in the first instance, because colonial masters came and met us with traditional economies where there was no inflation. I give you yam, you give me potato. I give you goat, you give me cow. So prices don't change over that period. But when you are faced with monetarized economy, where things you consume have to be imported, where government policies regulate, where central bank increase rate of what you are consuming, even if you are jobless, because the issue of increasing NPR and CRR to reduce money supply, you don't have the money. So, but what I'm thinking is that average families must understand that they are consumers, and in consumption you make priorities, and you consume what is not what will give you maximum satisfaction, but what will give you satisfaction, because under the recent analysis, most of the consumers try to consume because it is assumed that they are rational. They are rational that if you choose to consume apple for instance, you are consistently aware that you are going to drive satisfaction. But in this, people want to live, and there is inflation, and there are families, some with income, some without income. So what is government doing? What are policy makers doing? These are the things that allocate food to the tables of individuals in an economy. If you are living in IDP camps, what are you going to manage, for instance? When your life is totally depend on somebody to feed you and feed you, and they are in high number, and the number is increasing. In your background, you highlighted the National Bureau of Statistics has informed the whole nation that we have 133 million people below poverty line. So what that is saying is that you have more poor people. And when you have more poor people, you have to bring policies that will reduce the number of those in that category. So but when we are speaking as elite, yes, I'm a salary earner. What do I use with my salary? Even though it has been eroded completely. The doctor has emphasized you need a second husband as a wife. If ABC, you need additional way to get an income to sustain the family. This is basic. And when you have it, you either encourage yourself or encourage part of the family members to be in that category. And again, managing finances. Individuals that are classified to be literate enough can be rational enough to make decisions. Possibly, my income is 30,000 naira, and you insist that I have to make savings for any days, and I am to feed at least 3 members of the family. And based on the statistics, for each individual requires nothing less than 1,000 naira to be fed well, minimum. So how do you classify?
Well, I think we shall delve into more intricacies with respect to this conversation, because we have raised government, what should be government concern on this, and the kind of policy that should be enunciated, and implemented, to balance the equation as it affects families. All right, now let's return to Doctor one more time. You see, is there any culture you think Nigerians may have imbibed over time with respect to their spend culture? Now, you find a job seeker, like you mentioned, who perhaps have cousins or relations who are assisting him, in the meantime, and he happens to, perhaps he wants to buy a phone. You discover that person may be looking for an iPhone. He knows he's jobless, Then he has some avenues of making some little money. He's going for an iPhone with over 150,000 as the case may be. He's jobless, and this is also why you see some students who are supposed to be thinking of their school fees or other items they require to further their education. They are interested in buying phones worth 200,000 naira, 250,000 naira. I can't just understand it. And many Nigerians are also involved, not just in phones. Adults buy things they don't need. Some have clothing in their homes. They have sold them for over 10 years. They don't even wear it. Yet they're acquiring more and more and what have you. So is that a culture like that in Nigeria, which is also affecting us at the family level?
When I talk about the colonial masters and colonialism, let me also tell you that it's not only African. The people who colonized us came from India. The Mughal, after having finished in India, he came to Nigeria. Now, what did Mahatma Gandhi tell them in India? If you must drive a car, let it be an Indian-made car. If you must watch TV, let it be an Indian-made TV. And he came up with the Hindustan and the president TV, Hindustan car. Today, the top persons that control the ICT industry, whether it's Apple or wherever, where are they from? India. When you do medical tourism today, where do you go to? What is the implication for economic wealth creation for India? So let's call a spade a spade. Today, this year, Nigeria has diaspora remittances over $20 billion. Africa, $49 billion. Nigeria alone has over 20 billion. And that's even the one recorded. There are other under the radar envelope. Please, when you go home, give Uncle Kirian, give Auntie.
Give us.
I give second.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Wealth creation, I didn't say job creation, it's cultural. And I stand on my ground to tell you that when I talk about financial intelligence, in 2012 I attended business school, Enterprise Development Center at Atlantic University. We were taught in business school, sir, that in a developing economy, everyone needs at least 7 streams of income to survive. If you look at the Garden of Eden, it's north, south, east, and west. Even geography says north, south, east, and west, meaning you need not less than 4 streams of income to survive. Here, since I graduated from business school, the only people who have satisfied what I taught in business school are my grandmothers and your grandfathers. And I'll be bold to tell you that the kind of orientation and value system that we received is what has put us where we are. Even the educational system, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, the Federal Executive Council launched the indigenous language policy. Why? Now we need to understand that if we understand exactly what our value systems are and grow our economy based on our culture, even the way we are dressed, I deliberately wore what I wore. I came with my walking stick deliberately. But what do? You go to the Dubai Mall and you buy suits that are over how many $1,000s? What you can do is to copy what they are doing in Dubai Mall. According to the Japanese, that's what they call the Iwakura mission. The Japanese emperor sent some young Japanese out there to understand the antiquated technology of Europe and to come back and then understand their own and apply it to their culture. So today you have fast cars, I love big money. When you hear such songs, it means the Japanese cars are fast cars. What do the Americans do? Go and read how Toyota became #1. The Americans engage the Japanese and say, if you're not careful, we'll apply tariffs against you. So that's why you have those car manufacturing companies in Chicago, thereby creating jobs for Americans. What we found out is that the Japanese found a way to use their technology to grow. What did Nigeria do? Nigeria was supposed to move from CKD, complete lockdown, to lockdown, and then to the Nigerian-made car. We came to where Ezekiel Zog came up with the Nigerian car. How far did we take it talking about policies? So I agree with you on policies.
And that's in the 70s.
Thank you. So where are we today? We have gone back to complete lockdown. PJ has been there in Kaduna. So it's at the national, sub-national, and even down to the state, and down to local government, down to personal level. But let's look at the micro before we go to macro. Yeah, my grandmother had a backyard. My sister, your grandmother had a backyard. Tell me about 7 streams of income. My grandmother had ugu. Let's start. Okra, chicken, yam, egg, guava, oranges, and so on. But let me ask all of us seated here, where is your backyard? You may say flowers. Thank you. The flower vase in your compound. I'm going somewhere. What vegetable is inside the flower vase in your compound? Is it ugu? Can you eat it? But we've run at 250 naira per liter to go to Otako from Lokudoma to go and buy a go of 250 naira. How much sense does that make? So let's call a spade that is about knowledge. Knowledge is profitable to direct. If you don't know, you don't know.
Dr. Rakpa, I thank you for the clarity that you have provided. And I wanted to throw my question to you. Okiren had already asked you, so I will just take my next question to Professor Labi, and within the context of what you have provided, you shall hear maybe distinction between those who can manage finances, those who have finances to manage, and those who do not even understand the concepts that we want to manage. He calls them the consumers. So, Professor Labi, let's say these people who do not even have a sense of understanding of what these concepts means to even begin to manage them, let's say they fall within the unemployed, the students who do not have money, who are dependents, our mothers, and so on and so forth. Let's begin with these people. Within the 7 streams of income that Dr. Orakpa had mentioned, and within the context that wealth creation is cultural, how can these people begin to reposition themselves for 2023?
Thank you very much. Essentially, when you talk of moving forward, I do not suspect the fact that some people they don't have or they have nothing to money. Nothing. You have something to money. Within the context of what you are doing, you are either a public servant or private sector employee, or you are self-employed, or whatever it is you are doing. Within the context of what you are doing and the income you are earning, you can manage. Management is critical. And especially for those who don't have more than one source of income, yes, you may not be able to have 4 or 7, but you must have an additional source of income that can show the effect of the only source of income in case of eventuality. So the basic thing about managing finance is one for everyone. Either you are knowledgeable, you go to school, don't go to school, that you must know what you go for all budget. And what is budget? It's just a plan that draws out what I need to do in this particular week or this particular month. Alright? Set the date. So I want to achieve A, B, C, and I will prioritize it. Prioritize this one comes first. You do not require a degree, BSc, MSc, MBA, or any other. You know that these are the things I need to do. You must draw a plan, and that's the budget. What are the income I expect? What you do that you know the expenditure. So set your simple plan. Even if it's a page, a name, write it down. It's important that as you go along, you must spend in spending tracking the money I want to spend on this. Am I doing it? Am I getting the right thing? Introduce it to your spending habits, discipline, financial discipline. That is number 2. And you have your plan. You must change the budget you have set for yourself. It's very important that as you go along, there will be months and weeks when there will be higher income coming in. From nowhere at all. I do not need to put all my something that I must pay. That's another culture that everybody will say, go to people that I must pay. What do you do saving? I want to save for the rainy day. I want to save for emergency. Let's talk about food. Yes, food is the major thing. Accommodation. Our student education is becoming something else. What will I do? When I have extra income, I don't pay all in December. December 20 to January 1 is just 1 week. For January is 60 days. Quote and unquote. It's going to be long. First quarter of the year is going to be very long. More than 3 months. So you must have a saving culture. A culture that will put aside nothing no matter how small. It's important also that a lot of us pick up debt that we don't need. You don't need something. Distribute between your need and your house. And run away from debt and not necessary. So that you'll be able to move on. Your mindset must change. Our mindset must change as we go into 2023. There is going to be a whole lot of poverty here. The government is activity, a new government is coming up. They cannot do magic in the first quarter, and they cannot do magic in the first 6 months. Therefore, the little you have, you must just plan to manage it. You take the management. And as you go along, I want to say this. A lot of things you need. Yes, I agree with you, academic intelligence, financial intelligence, but don't forget, that often for everyone. You be very factor, you go factor, I will tell you.
you require to manage your finance based on your faith and belief. If you have a need, out of that it is this, you have more. If you say a little bit, it is wisdom. The answer is faith. Everybody says it. So what I'm saying is that we need to manage our finance. Either you are rich or poor. For those who say they are unemployed or underemployed, yes, there's nobody that cannot do anything. Look around you. You have this talent that you can translate into monumental things. That is very simple. If you say, I don't know my talent, I don't know my skill, introspect and look at yourself. What are those things that you can do so effortlessly? It is important that we start managing our finances as we go to 2023. 2023 is an election year. 2023 is the year we want to see our first. 2023 is a year that since inflation will continue. 2023 is a time when even our national economy want to witness a start, but we cannot work because we have to plan what to have. So generally, managing our finance is for everyone, but we require the knowledge, we require the skill, and we be able to go to people know that I must plan. A budget is a plan that says these are my expenditures, these are my plans, and you must cut your cost, not according to your plate now, but according to your size. It's important. It's very important for us to gather. A lot of us are not saving. Christmas is here. People are spending money. People want to visit places. I don't think you not do vacation there. But if you know that in January, there's going to be a lot of demand for you, for school fees, for food, for transportation. And in Nigeria, it's an economy where everybody say, it's the dollar, it's the dollar, it's the dollar. You very soon you go behind your back, it's the dollar. I think you have to arrest the dollar if it's a human being. To do that. So our people in the village to know, our educated people to know, all the employment people to know that planning your finance is a thing for now for you to make it. You can plan out of nothing. You can plan out of nothing. In fact, I noticed that those who don't have concept at all, they require more in terms of planning. Because when you have just 100 naira to spend, then you sit down with your mind. You can do that in the course of your room. But when you need advice, your churches, your mosque, your students, people know how to do little bit of financial engineering, how to set things out. It's very important. It is very insane that you can even invest. And I also think that by to exist. Yes, it's not an aberration, but when you are too involved in debt, it eases and impacts on your ability to move forward. Those are the fundamentals as we go to things. And the God factor is very important. Right? Talk to God, pray to God, do and do what is right. So if you do that, of course, 2023 is not really a good day, not to do to the world of Nigeria, but we more of our day. And like I said, take management. Keep the management. Project the management. Personify management. Let's graduate management. I mean, that is not a big thing. What do I want to do? How do I do it? Where do I do it? How do I get my result? Am I getting the result? That's all about management. Management finance is key.
I feel the energy in you know, as a management expert, because it hurts you, that a man could get up to say, look, I don't have a plan for my family, and I've just said it that planning is a sine qua non for survival, especially in a situation like this where we are grappling with the economic challenges, not just in Nigeria alone, but across the globe. So families should learn to plan, budget, save for the rainy day. Well, we are particularly concerned about January, February, which is synonymous with the issue of school fees. Some of us, our rent may even expire by then. We need to renew your rent the same period, depending on when last you paid, and all of that will culminate in a financial chaotic situation for those who did not plan properly, and that's what Prof was talking about. And they have to sit down and plan. Now, Professor Amin Usman, Dean Faculty of Social Sciences, Kaduna State University, in your earlier presentation, you talked about government rule and what has happened in the polity that may have led to the poor financial situation in so many families. Now, lead us into how families should manage the situation, because already it is here with us. We cannot change it overnight. How do you think families should cope with planning and management of what they have to ensure that the first quarter of 2023 will be spent with some level of happiness?
I think the issue is not about only whether the families need to plan or not. Yes, like the Professor Labi said, planning is sine qua non for every family to survive coming 2023 and beyond. But the issue is that the first of all, families should realize the challenges they are going to face in 2023. They should realize the issues that are defining finances and expenditure within 2022 and going into 2023. They should also look at their income and look at how inflation is wiping out their income gradually and making them poorer by the day. They should also avoid one thing that generally workers are involved in, which is actually spontaneous purchases or buying things on credit that will actually mutilate their salary before it gets to them. And they should also that the government is also cash strapped, so there will be a lot of deductions, things that you don't know exist, they will start existing. So I think the issue is about potentially knowing your financial position and going into the new year, and then knowing that with inflation, everything, every price, every line of expenditure will increase. So you have to plan from day one, and that's why I drew the attention of families that look, there's going to be a massive increase in school fees. I've seen 2 or 3 universities have increased their school fees by 250%. That means ab initio, beginning of the year, you are now have a problem that maybe you have to you have to borrow money to actually add to send your children back to school, which will also impact on the little income you have. So apart from inflation, on food items and we have to also control our consumption. Yes, every country needs new class of consumers, and most people, like you said, they are just consumers. They just consume whatever is available. But I think another distinction we need to make here is that there are 2 classes that we need to look at. One is the fact that there are workers who have a defined income, workers in the civil service, in the private sector and all that. Those people, because they have a defined income, they have a guaranteed limited income, they need to start looking for other sources of income to be able to balance up. The issue is not about January to March. I think the issue is about the whole year. The whole year is going to be a little bit chaotic for most families because of the activities I listed earlier. The political arena will be highly charged. Government will not be able to spend more money because another government is coming in, and there are so many uncertainties in the world, and up to now nobody knows what's going to happen to the international community, and then the crisis that are doubling the entire world. So I think those who are working must find additional source of income, must understand that the current income they have, no matter how well they manage it, it will not going to change their life, not going to improve their life. In fact, they will see life deteriorating. Then there are those other Nigerians, the ones NBS said about 133 million that are absolutely poor. Now those people don't even have anything to plan. Nobody thinks that those people will plan. What are they going to plan for? Most of them are what in Arabic they call the people who wake up in the morning, they don't know, they don't have anything, they have to go out and scavenge for whatever is available. If it is pound, then family eat. If it doesn't pound, everybody go hungry. So those ones don't have anything to plan, but what they have to do is that they need to put more effort at trying to find work to do, at trying to find other sources of income. But for workers who have defined income, like if you say, by law, the civil servant is not supposed to engage in any business other than agriculture. But I don't think that law is effective, is going to be realistic in the current situation Nigeria is, because nobody earns on the public service, nobody earns anything near what his budget can consume. So I think the issue is with families to realize their level of income, to realize the level of inflation that is happening in this country, to also realize the need to start doing things according to their income. No more borrowing, because the more you borrow, the more you limit your ability to actually live well, because you are borrowing to consume, and when your income is not growing. Now, if you can only borrow if you are expecting additional income so that you can be able to cover the gap, but then in the situation where salaries are held constant and then inflation is running here, people have to understand that this inflation, effectively what it's doing is actually making you poorer by day. But I don't see how it's going to abate as long as the major cost lines are reduced, and they are not going to reduce. I kept emphasizing that, look, food is going to be a major issue. It has always been a major issue, but it's likely to be worse this year because of the issues of what happens to the environment due to rains, what happened with the environment, with the harvest this year. So when you publish ab initio, know that their costs of school fees is going to increase for those who are children in the university or those who want to register their children in the university, and that has a spiraling effect. I mean, I've seen universities where private hostels are charging between 100 to 200,000 per bed space in some even.
All right, Professor Aminu Usman, thank you very much. Indeed, when inflation is over 2 digits and even climbing, and the cost of items, cost of foodstuffs and other commodities are also, increasing, purchasing power, the gap between purchasing power and the cost of all of these things is like the gap between a quarter miler and a sprinter, if not more. So the question that we will be asking is, how then do we, like you suggested, how then do we begin to augment our sources of income? Where should the sources of jobs, come from? But that would be a question that Dr. Bina Rakba will, kick in for us when we come back from this break. Don't go away.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as the elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency. No.
I'm a teacher by profession. I train lessons. I could not even remember some of them, but by their approach, greeting and respect, I make beats. I liquid soap is, I have stopped buying liquid soap from the market. I make it and I teach these young ones how to do that. And when I do, it is not for any fee.
In most cases, I serve as consultants. Many people come to you inquiring how to go about doing the farming. I normally direct them on what to do.
Right now, I'm not into any paid job, as I said, but I'm happy doing what I'm happy.
Senior citizens over the years have shown that they are still capable of working. They have shown that retirement is only but a social construct, not a limitation. Senior citizens until the end carry around a wealth of knowledge that we can tap into. They have walked these journeys we now walk today. They have amassed all of these experiences so they can stand holding the torch so we do not stumble in the dark. Our senior citizens are national assets packed full with inestimable value. They should not be condemned to a life of obscurity, but one where they serve to illuminate our path. Promoting senior citizens for intergenerational workforce.
The Ministry of Police Affairs under my watch has been instrumental to strengthening Nigerian police force to tackle challenges in the internal security architecture of the nation. To effectively achieve its mandate to protect lives and property within Nigeria, the Nigerian police have deployed operational intelligence and the ICT-based apparatus to tackle and stem the tide of crime and criminality. Some of these efforts include the maximization of the Force Intelligence Bureau, Intelligence Response Team, and Special Tactical Squads, through digitalization of emergency contacts via the NPF Rescue Me application for emergency response at the top of a button.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
A new edition of TV Guide is out, featuring an impeccable personality with purposeful leadership. Alhaji Muhammad Mitakobi, the Executive National President of Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria.
In 774 local governments, will be able to put all our structures in everywhere. I'll be able to bring the retail members together, reconcile them to come and work for the progress of the association.
Welcome to a world of fun and excitement as we also present an assemblage of professionals in the media space. Some compelling NTA programs, current trends in the fashion world, ICT, sports, entertainment, and lots more. Get a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Alright, we thank you for staying with us up to this moment on Good Morning Nigeria, only on NTA Network Service. Now we're still with our four guests this morning discussing management of finances, especially as it concerns various families. And of course, my colleague Claire posed the question to Dr. Wunaya Uruapa, and of course, I'm sure the question is fresh in your mind, and that's talking about the entrepreneurial aspect of ourselves. So how can we help ourselves? You know, you are a regular salary person. Prof earlier pointed out the fact that yes, the law says you can farm as well as be in civil service, but not to do other things. In that respect, how do you respond to the issue of the entrepreneurship for survival?
Yes, how do you augment your income?
Okay, thank you. I think it goes back to definitions. Your definition will determine your results. Let's define what's entrepreneurship. And the entrepreneurship is you identifying an opportunity and you building a system to exploit it. So you are in the civil service. There are 1,000 of you in NTA. Where is a cooperative society? If you have a cooperative society, like Prof said in Lokoja, can you invite Joshua to come and be a resource person to take you through the processes of building a business, starting, consolidating, and running a business? And running a business is that around this NTA facility or across 36 states are lands that are waiting to be exploited. Around this 36 states of federation with 36 stations or more than that, you have traditional rulers. Has the GM in Benin gone to the Oba of Benin to say, sir, we need a land to farm? In a developing economy, there are three things you cannot go wrong with. And I think Prof began to allude to it. Food, health, education. No matter how poor you are, if anybody falls sick in your family, if you have to beg, you beg and get the person sorted. So why are you not investing in education and health related issues? During the COVID era, face masks alone, Claire, what you're wearing, a piece of the cloth you're wearing also was your face mask. I heard Ralph Paradishola, Minister Obeni, saying why would we import, talking about what Yeshua said, import face mask, then 700 naira per face mask. And then he said, what about seamstresses who had machines already? Some are doing, my mentor will tell you, start with what you have. You already have machine, my wife has two. You can use the same cloth. Be creative thinking. As a man think it in their house, so they are. And you take the piece of cloth and make face mask. Over 4 billion naira was made by seamstresses in Nigeria during COVID era. But we would have spend that money importing face masks. Now, for civil servants, are you saying a civil servant cannot come out by 5 o'clock? I know there is traffic along Maraba Nyanya, along Third Mainland Bridge, and stay and discipline yourself. You pay a price. I'm sorry, it's opportunity cost. The real cost of what you have is what you gave up to have it. You sacrifice the party, sacrifice the Ashobi. You're not impressing everybody. At your age, you're no longer dancing for people to spray you money. And you work with your fellow civil servants in NTA, in Federal Secretariat, and you say, okay, this year, we're going to buy cow. And you say, who is it? You're from Sokoto. Can you call the people in Sokoto to send us 10 cows? Think big. Never, listen to this, Claire. Make big plans. Never make small plans. Small plans attract small people, and small people cause big problems. And when I say small people, I'm not talking about people who are slim like me. I'm talking about people who have small thinking. So when you are thinking, don't think. When I talk about colonial masters, you want to kill me. Let me explain to you. During our culture, we had an abundance mindset. The African culture had an abundance mindset. You had children that went to the farm, 5 a.m. That is the discipline of the process. You sleep, a little slumber. But now you have a generation of people who want to go to ice cream joint, to go and consume ice cream, and then you have to deal with the dentist who makes money off you. But in our culture, you do roasted yam with palm oil. I'm not saying it must remain there, but yes, okay, evolutionary process of things. But as civil servants in a cooperative, instead of buying one cow for you and your family, let us plan who wants cow. It's called subscription method. Everybody writes down their names. It will shock you that if you go to Orange Market in Maraba, and this is a system that one of my mentees found out. If you bought tomatoes around Karo area, a bowl of tomato will go for 1,000 naira. But if you went and bought a basket and 12 of you shared it, you see that the unit price will drop to 500 naira. It is called bulk purchase. In Nigeria, go to Smedan. There's a document called One Local Government, One Product, OLOP. People Adelaja went and did that research. In Japan, there's what they call One Village, One Product. What is wrong with us, Every village, including your village, has at least one commodity they have comparative advantage on. Now, you have over 900 MBAs. As the Director of the President, he will tell you. What has happened to the national or local government employees? If the ones in Aba send palm oil to you in Abuja, NTA Abuja will do, and then if you order palm oil, and the ones in Aba, they go Pala, Ogidu, and so on that produce palm oil. As I speak, my team and I this year said, okay, instead of this speaking grammar, I don't want to be called a motivational speaker. Can we do practical things? And it will shock you. Last year I came here, I told you about the village hamper. That we put yam, egusi, crayfish, honey beans and so on, and basket, and we sent it around. FRS collected over 100 of it and paid us money. This year I decided to move ahead and got a shop in Zuba. There's a place called Fruit and Vegetable Market in Zuba. I had 2 shops.
Now I know why there aren't hampers at the market.
And it's a shop instead of macaroni, biscuits and so on. We decided to use yam, plantain and so on. I had the pictures. You know the lie. And we gave it, including sent it SGF, Senate President, House of Reps. We have a letter from the Senate President acknowledging that. FRS got 100.
Now this is wealth is cultural.
Yes, when I say wealth is cultural, actually I want to cut my neck. I stand on my ground and tell you that if you go to one local government, one product, okay is it that the barber does not know how to cut hair or that the clipper is blunt? Where are we poor? Why do we have over 23 billion, how many trillion local debt? Why do we have over close to 50 billion local debt, aggregated local and international debt? Are you saying that we cannot move the yam from Jalingo? And for your information, it's happening. If you're not doing it, you know that people are doing it. 9/11 from Pamagarago is 4,500 tubers. This December, I went to my father, Professor Enter Lumber, and I went to 2 bags of yam. I visited the farm set and went to 2 bags of yam. At my age, I'm no longer dancing for people to spray me money. I'm too old. But it's cultural. The yam and the palm oil. As I speak to you, people from Mina came to our shop and bought over 150 gallons of palm oil. How many gallons have you sold, Claire? Now, the yam, sir, you take, that guy with a Mack truck from Agrago is 9,000 bags of yam. If you have flooded it in Lagos, I called NTA. I was NTA, the weekend file, about a month ago. On December 10, I was in your studios. Go to your studios. What are you doing with that compound? That large compound that used to be the hallmark of NTA is lying there. All you use it for is weekend file, for network news, and so on. What is the compound doing? It's even building a sea. Nigeria, under the law of the sea of 1982, has over 400 nautical miles, the resources of the sea. Sir, there's nothing you can look for inside that sea. Crayfish, oporo, fish, crab, and so on. What is wrong with you? Yes, doctor. Don't give me this excuse of civil servants. Anybody is poor, the person made themselves poor. And please quote me. My name is Obinaya Udwaba. If they don't know, they should ask you. Ask me. That a cooperative society.
Dr. Waba, in fact, my colleague told me earlier on that I should allow the experts to speak, that I am not an expert and stuff. Yes. But that is true. But what you have hit the nail on the head. The thing is that, you know, we are looking for something that somewhere, and it is here with us. You know, so how do we do that? And again, it even affects governance in the first place, because we can't tell me that any good state where I come from. Well, we have Akuyimoloba area. Yes, sir. We have also one area. Yes, sir. We have a fertile part of Enugu state that can even produce what do you call it? Onions, right? So, and nobody is paying attention to all of that. We used to have Uboka rice, Ada rice, yes, you know, in Enugu there. Yes, long time ago. You know, so right now we're not getting it as much as we should. Let me bring in a issue.
Before you proceed, let me ask you, it's very clear. I give you an assignment. In 21 days, give me a book. You can write a 16-page book on this experience as an anchor. We are not fair to this society. There are younger people who want to be clear. Yes. Oprah Winfrey has Oprah Winfrey Network. It's not fair that Kyria, you retire from here. There is Cliff here. Where are all the people who used to sit here? We've been on this matter for more than 5 years, and I've been begging you. NTA is the flagship. In fact, across Africa. Don't beg us any longer. Collect the data in NTA. Let us come and let me
promise you, we are going to key into that. If I promise, we are going to key into that in 2023. I can assure you that. Please come in and issue. I mean, just address any aspect that you may wish to.
The aspect we are to address is financial literacy. Dr. Obinna highlighted what I mean by colonial. We should not be blaming colonials. Yes. That is my point. Yes. Colonial met us without inflation, and I have said under trade by barter, prices don't change. Yes. We only exchange. That one is more comfortable. Consumption pattern, we should be consuming what we are producing. That would be the best thing, but it's not real in modern economies. You rightly pointed out how Japanese were able to get certain aspect of the consumption patterns from America. And I want to put to it, I made a study in 1990 when Tomichi Moriyama wanted to exploit the American market. There are stages of development. These stages of development determine your consumption. Societies that are less developed consume differently from the societies that are well developed. America is a state of mass consumption according to W.W. Rostow. Since they are in that stage, they can consume Lexus car. Wow. And the Japanese conceived the idea. This Japan, America, how do we earn money from Japan? Tomichi put the technologies and then went directly to produce Lexus cars, but only to be exported to US. And US cannot say that because we are financially literate, we cannot accept, because the consumers of America, they are at a stage of consuming the best because they have the best income. So the Americans have no any other way to stop the Japan from taking Lexus to America. As a Nigerian, I cannot buy Lexus directly from Japan. I must buy it from America. And that is how they use to help the yen against the dollar. From 1,000 yen to a single dollar to about 112. I made that study in 1990. So looking at that alone, we can see how you can influence consumption. All that we are saying is that you can manage. You manage when you have income in the first instance because of two reasons. One, even economics. Identify autonomous consumers that consumes without having a job. My children, you are sick parents. They are autonomous consumers. What do? You must take them to hospital. When you are taking them, you rightly pointed, you must borrow, even if you don't have. But where is the state to take care of the old age?
Okay, we must manage our time.
Okay.
Yes, not just our finances. We must also learn to manage our time. But let me bring in Professor John Alabi. Prof, this might be a concluding contribution. Within the context again of wealth is cultural, how do we begin to control our consumptions? Because the understanding when we talk about controlling our consumption is reducing the size or quantity of what we eat. But I don't think this is the philosophy behind Dr. Urakba's wealth is cultural. So within that context, can you speak to us on how we can control our consumption?
Thank you very much. What the consumption pattern of any people is a function of the environment you are. For us, because we were criminalized by the wives, we tend to think that our consumption is passing along their life. I think this is cultural. What we need to do, the philosophy of the Nigerian economy is that if you consume what you produce and produce what you consume, our taste must change. The penchant for imported things must not be out of it. Nations that are developed clean the economy for a while and say, look, this is what we must use. This kind of cars we want to use, that's what we want to use. This kind of things are not allowed in the country, that's what we want to do. Clothing materials is what. So we must start it from the point of view of partner penetration, utilities, whatever it is that we do not produce, we should limit as well our assets into doing those things. I think it's important. The issue is being around consumption is that as a national country, we can direct people's attitude, people's behavior towards using, towards consuming, towards buying the things that we can produce as a nation. But on a personal level, as an individual, to start thinking about what can I do? Because in terms of consumption expenditure, so you want to buy food, you want to pay school fees, all is about income expenditure. Therefore, we must this part of the business, and that's why I want to answer discussion that we must take entrepreneurship in very quick. And I think in any nation that we have the preponderance of people who are within poverty line, we must start thinking outside the box. You may not know where the box is, maybe you think outside the building. It's important for us to identify what can I do to survive as I move forward, and simplicity identify opportunities in your environment, like the Nigerian mentioned. Just look at what's around you. What can I do? So you can increase your ability to spend and consume and spend on those basic things. Opportunities abound around you. Imagine where you stay, whatever is where you do. It's very important. The other issue is very critical. It's the skills you have. A lot of people just go to school, some just have degree, and that is all. But there are nothing skills that they can convert into income generation. Look at those skills, those talents, those skills that God has given you. How can I translate that to income generation? Another area for our preponderant unemployed people that say they are waiting on government. Government will not come. This government yourself, what do you do? Engage in this. You have a skill. Engage in volunteerism. Get experience. From experience you can get connected and have work. A lot of social work. I had a young man in local government who does fixing of bad news all through on his own. I saw him one man use maintenance agency. He has a simple truck. He move around. He gets money. A lot of people give him money on a monthly basis. But that's 60 euros. It's important when you get access to work. Because if you don't do it, depending on government, is something government is service crazy under the cost. So as we move forward to 2023, we must not only talk about our finances, about our expenditure, copy according to our state and service, but we must also deepen and widen our revenue base. Those small things that we can do. No law in the first can tell you that I focus on.
All right, Professor John Arabi, Dean, Faculty of Management Sciences, Kogi State University, Ayimba, who is also President and Chairman, Institute of Classic Entrepreneurship. Prof, would like to appreciate you for your contribution this morning. We appreciate your being there with us from Lokoja. Thank you. All right. I also like to appreciate Dr. Obinayasi Uwaba, personnel development, mentorship, public speaker, author, and entrepreneur. In fact, I'm going to begin to have business with you. We thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this morning.
My pleasure.
All right. Yusra Aliu, economic analyst, who's always with us here.
Thank you.
Discuss economy and management. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Professor Amin Usman, Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, Kaduna State University. Thank you indeed for being with us this morning. And once again, compliments of the season. And I hope Kaduna is beautiful this morning. Thank you again for coming. All right, let's take a bit of pause before we conclude today's package.
Odion Ighalo was on target again for Al Hilal, who held Al Nas to a 2-2 draw in Saudi Arabia top flight on Monday. Ighalo has now scored in 4 straight games and has now also found the back of the net in his last 3 league games. Monday's goal saw Ighalo take his tally in the Saudi Arabia Elite Division to 6. Last season, Ighalo netted 12 goals in 13 league appearances for Al Hilal. Meanwhile, reigning champions Manchester City, who got to Leeds United on Wednesday, are now 8 points behind the Gunners. Southampton now find themselves bottom of the league following a home defeat, and Everton were left in despair after conceding late on at Goodison's Park.
Alright, I hope you found our conversation today very, very useful. I have, and I'd like once again to appreciate all our guests this morning, from the 2 professors, Kogi and Kaduna, and Dr. Obinaya Uwakba. Of course, you shall all. They've made quite an impact, I'm sure, both Kieran and I. We'd like to thank you always. Do join us again same time tomorrow. My name is Claire Adilabu Abdul-Razak, and always remember to join us in the fight against rape and rapists.
I am Kieran. Thank you for watching. Have a pleasant day.